Indiana Fever riding high, continue to fly high on the ratings.
2 million viewers without Caitlin Clark.
Another game without Caitlin Clark. It did not stop the fans from wanting to watch this. CC is carrying the entire league.
The ratings, sans Clark, Fever Sky still among top 10 WNBA games.
She didn't play a single minute. She didn't take one shot. And still, millions tuned in.
Indiana's blowout win, that. It also delivered the third largest WNBA audience ever, and without Clark.
The cameras couldn't stop panning to her on the bench. The energy in the building? Unreal. Caitlin Clark wasn't just there. She was the moment.
It is the best thing that could have happened for the WNBA. You've now got, say, 1.9 million people watching this game without Caitlin Clark, and they can say, look, it's not just Caitlin. It is just the Indiana Fever, sure, but at least they're able to say that. However, no player has been able to get people to care about a team quite like Caitlin Clark.
And yet again, ratings exploded just because she showed up. That's the power of a generational icon.
Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever, they're a draw.
So if you're riding with Caitlin, if you believe she's the face of the WNBA and the future of the sport, drop a 100% in the comments right now.
Caitlin Clark is the absolute difference maker for the Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP.
She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar globally.
The moment Caitlin Clark stepped onto a WNBA court, history was rewritten. Her debut game against the Chicago Sky didn't just make headlines, it shattered expectations. 2.7 million viewers tuned in across ABC platforms, making it the most watched WNBA game in over 2 decades.
The ratings, sans Clark, Fever Sky still among top 10 WNBA games since 2001. How did they follow up the most watched WNBA game ever on ESPN platforms from May 17th that averaged 2.7 million viewers?
That wasn't a playoff game. It wasn't a championship. It was a regular season matchup. And yet Caitlin made it feel like the Super Bowl, and the momentum didn't stop there. Her very next game against the New York Liberty pulled in 2.2 million viewers on CBS. Still one of the highest rated WNBA broadcasts ever.
Caitlin Clark, box office, Caitlin Clark's team, Indiana's blowout win, which peaked with 2.16 million viewers, delivered the third largest audience of the WNBA season behind the team's meeting on ABC, the opening Saturday of the season, that did 2.7, and Fever Liberty on CBS the following week, that did 2.2.
These weren't casual spikes. These were back-to-back milestones, and there was one undeniable factor behind it: Caitlin Clark. She doesn't just bring fans, she brings networks. ABC, CBS, ESPN. Every broadcaster wants a piece of the Fever now, not because of the team's record, but because Caitlin makes people care. Her games trend nationally. Her highlights dominate social media. Every time she suits up, it's a must-watch event.
When Caitlin Clark goes with the Valkyries, it's going to be crazy. When she goes to Golden State, that game's going to be crazy. You've seen what it is with the Valkyries.
Even sports giants are taking notice. Fever games are now pulling viewership numbers on par with MLB's Red Sox versus Yankees on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball.
Fever Sky delivered an audience on par with Red Sox Yankees on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball.
Let that sink in. The WNBA, which used to average a few 100,000 viewers per game, is now doing NFL-adjacent numbers when Caitlin plays. That's not normal. That's historic. And this isn't just a hot streak. This is a movement. Broadcasters are no longer slotting WNBA games into quiet afternoon windows. They're giving Caitlin Clark primetime. For the first time in league history, a WNBA regular season game aired on broadcast television in primetime.
The first time ever a WNBA regular season or playoff game aired in prime time on broadcast television.
That's never happened before. Why now? One reason: Caitlin Clark. She is, without question, the most bankable name in women's basketball. The proof is in the data, and it's why networks are already setting up future Fever games, especially ones with Clark on the court, as ratings juggernauts, predicting they could crack 3 to 4 million viewers this summer. No rookie in WNBA history has ever had this kind of pull. No veteran either. Caitlin Clark doesn't need time to grow into the spotlight. She is the spotlight.
Another game without Caitlin Clark. It did not stop the fans from wanting to watch this. I told y'all what it was. Long as we got to do is keep supporting the team, Caitlin Clark will be back in no time.
When she steps onto the court, America tunes in, and the WNBA reaps the rewards. You know a player is different when they can break records without stepping on the court. That's exactly what happened when Caitlin Clark sat out the recent Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game due to a minor calf injury.
Clark has not played since the game against the Liberty due to a calf injury.
No points, no assists, no minutes logged, and still the nation watched. The game drew an astonishing 1.92 million viewers on CBS without Caitlin Clark playing a single second.
Saturday's Fever Sky WNBA regular season game averaged 1.92 million viewers on CBS, marking the 8th largest WNBA regular season audience since 2001.
Let that sink in. That wasn't just a good rating. That was one of the top 10 most watched WNBA regular season games since 2001.
Sands Clark Fever Sky still among top 10 WNBA games since 2001.
Think about that. 24 years of league history and a game without its biggest star lands in the all-time top 10. Why? Because Caitlin Clark was in the building. Her presence alone was enough to pull in nearly 2 million viewers. You don't get that kind of influence unless you're a once-in-a-generation figure. The cameras couldn't stop cutting to her on the bench. Social media was flooded with clips of Caitlin cheering, coaching, laughing with teammates, and fans were glued to it. Because in the world of sports, there's hype, and then there's gravity, and Caitlin Clark has gravity.
Caitlin Clark effect. There has been so much of an influx in attendance, in jersey sales, and viewership, all the things.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA, goes through college. She has panache. She has style.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
Every team that faces Indiana knows the moment she's in the lineup. Or even in the arena, the spotlight gets brighter. And even with her sidelined, the buzz doesn't go away. It's not just about what she does with the ball. It's about what she represents. She's the reason new fans are showing up. She's the reason old fans are coming back. She's why casual viewers suddenly care about the WNBA. Let's compare. Most WNBA games hover around 400,000 to 500,000 viewers, sometimes even less. The Fever versus Sky game did nearly 4 times that, and Caitlin didn't even play. It wasn't a close game. It wasn't a classic rivalry.
Fever and Sky is a rivalry it's a rivalry people seem to want to watch.
And yet, it pulled in numbers that CBS would be proud of for NFL offseason content.
The absence of Caitlin Clark, the Fever Sky rivalry delivered one of the top 10 largest regular season or playoff WNBA audiences in the past 2 decades on CBS.
What's even more revealing is that the same Fever Sky matchup is being scheduled again for national primetime television in August. The expectation that with Caitlin Clark active and playing, the numbers could smash previous records. Some insiders are even predicting 3 to 4 million viewers. That's all-star game territory. That's bigger than some playoff games in other leagues. All because of one player. This kind of influence is unheard of. It's not just about popularity, it's about economic value. Broadcasters are betting on her, sponsors are lining up for her, and fans are buying tickets in cities she doesn't even play in just for the chance to maybe see her on the bench. Let's not forget, there are players in the league who've been around for a decade and have never sniffed a million-view game. And yet here comes Caitlin Clark, fresh out of college, and she's redefining what star power actually means.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing, like they're routine, because nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a flick of the wrist.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
She is the main draw. She is the needle mover.
And she was the MVP.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
She's creating a new standard, not just for rookies, not just for women's basketball, for any athlete in any league. And for those who try to minimize it by saying, oh, it's just the Fever brand, the answer is simple. There was no Fever brand before Caitlin Clark. Indiana wasn't drawing millions before she got there. The only consistent factor in every top-rated game this season has been one name, Caitlin Clark. So when you hear that 1.92 million people tuned in to watch a game she didn't even play in, understand this. It's not luck. It's not hype. It's not a fluke. It's Caitlin Clark doing what no one else can.
1.92 million viewers is still crazy. Like, that is that's probably one of the top 15 most viewed WNBA games of all time.
Breaking records just by being in the building. Before Caitlin Clark, WNBA primetime didn't exist. That's not an exaggeration. It's a historical fact. For over 2 decades, regular season or playoff games in the league never made it to network broadcast television's primetime slot. They were aired in the afternoons, buried on secondary networks, or lost in a crowded sports calendar. But Caitlin changed all that. The Fever versus Sky game, where she wasn't even playing, became the first WNBA regular season game ever aired in primetime on CBS, one of the biggest national platforms. The result? Nearly 2 million viewers, and the network's not done. Another Fever versus Sky matchup is already scheduled for August 9th in primetime.
CBS is also set to carry the same Fever Sky matchup in primetime August 9th.
And this time, the expectation is that Clark will be back on the floor. If that happens, experts are forecasting 3 to 4 million viewers, potentially making it the most watched WNBA game of all time.
1.9 million viewers for the Indiana Fever versus Chicago Sky game. A game Caitlin Clark missed to injury. It's the 3rd most watched WNBA game of the 2025 season.
And here's the thing. She's not just bringing fans. She's bringing money. She's making broadcasters care. She's forcing corporate sponsors to open their checkbooks. And she's showing the league what it means to be truly marketable. Ratings are no longer a problem for the WNBA. As long as Caitlin's name is on the marquee, she is single-handedly moving the WNBA into mainstream territory, where companies like Nike, State Farm, and Gatorade are not only advertising during games, but investing in the league's future. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark is the economic engine of this league right now. And whether other players and media personalities want to admit it or not, everything they're doing, from sponsorship deals to TV contracts, is happening in Caitlin Clark's shadow. She's the one creating leverage. She's the reason new collective bargaining agreements will likely include more money, more benefits, and more exposure. Just look at the ripple effect. Because of Clark, rookies are coming in with bigger endorsement deals than some league veterans.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
She's so good at basketball.
Caitlin Clark is undeniably the offensive engine.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
Cannot deny the impact that she's made on this sport.
The Fever, who were a forgotten franchise last year, are now the most talked about team in women's sports. They're leading every ratings chart, they're being broadcast in every major market, and their merchandise is flying off shelves. It's not just about the WNBA either. Caitlin's impact is bleeding into the entire landscape of women's sports. College viewership records were shattered during her run at Iowa. She made NCAA women's basketball a headline event, and now she's doing the same for the pros. Girls aren't just wearing her jersey, they're emulating her game, quoting her interviews and flooding gymnasiums just to get a glimpse of her warming up. And what's truly wild is how she's being undervalued even as she revolutionizes the league. Some media voices and veteran players have tried to downplay her importance.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from 3. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from 3-point range.
But here's the truth. While they debate, Caitlin is delivering results, tangible ones. Data doesn't lie. Viewership goes up when she's involved. Social engagement skyrockets when she's mentioned. And ticket prices, they double, sometimes triple when the Fever come to town. You want proof she's building something bigger than herself? Look at the new fans, the ones the old guard complain about. These aren't just temporary viewers. They're staying. They're watching games with and without Clark. They're learning names like Aaliyah Boston and Kelsey Mitchell. But why did they show up in the first place? One reason, Caitlin Clark.
It's more statistical proof, data to confirm exactly what we've been saying, that Caitlin Clark is driving this whole ship.
She's introducing an entire generation to the league, and that has permanent consequences because once people care, they don't stop caring. Once they start following storylines, they don't walk away. The WNBA isn't just surviving anymore. It's thriving because Caitlin Clark turned what used to be a niche league into a national conversation.
It is the best thing that could have happened for the WNBA. You've now got, say, 1.9 million people watching this game without Caitlin Clark, and they can say, look, it's not just Caitlin. It is just the Indiana Fever, sure, but at least they're able to say that. However, no player has been able to get people to care about a team quite like Caitlin Clark.
And we haven't even seen her full potential yet. She's only a rookie. She's still adjusting to the pace, the physicality, and the politics of pro ball. But if she's already shifting network schedules, driving CBA negotiations, and outdrawing playoff baseball while sitting on the bench, what happens when she starts dominating on the court too? The answer is simple. She becomes the cornerstone of the league's next era. In fact, she already is. Caitlin Clark is not just playing in the WNBA. She is shaping it, steering it, monetizing it, globalizing it. She's forcing every stakeholder, from team owners to TV execs, to think bigger. Because for the first time in decades, they see a future where the WNBA isn't just respected, it's relevant. And that future begins and ends with Caitlin. She's not just building a career, she's building the league.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. I'm so happy. I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
WNBA rumors suggest Caitlin Clark will be among the first stars making $1 million annually. The most notable of which is, y'all already know who, the needle mover, Caitlin Clark.
So in 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
At this point, the numbers speak louder than any headline ever could. The WNBA isn't just experiencing a surge, it's experiencing a Caitlin Clark revolution. Whether she's lighting up the scoreboard or simply sitting courtside, the result is always the same. Sold-out arenas, millions of viewers, and headlines that dominate the sports world. She's not a rising star. She's already the biggest name in women's basketball, and the league is riding her wave into a brand new era. Caitlin Clark isn't just in the WNBA. She is the WNBA right now.
Caitlin Clark is the needle mover.
She is the needle mover.
She is the franchise player.
And she was the MVP.
She is the main draw.
She wasn't the one who was full sprinting down the court.
She's my role model. I really look up to her.
Why do you like Caitlin?
And she's so good at basketball.
Because she's that awesome person, and she has like a lot of aura, so like.
It is undeniable that Caitlin Clark is the engine.
Caitlin Clark effect. There has been so much of an influx in attendance, in jersey sales, and viewership, all the things.
That's about star power, narrative, and likability.
Caitlin Clark comes into the WNBA, goes through college. She has panache. She has style.
Caitlin Clark's injury is going to massively affect the WNBA. It's going to massively affect the league.
And every time she walks into a building, the sport gets bigger, the spotlight shines brighter, and the standard gets higher. So if you believe in what she's doing, If you see the impact she's having,
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right. So she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
Just have nothing but great things to say about who she is as a person. Just so welcoming and so warm as an individual that she can have a conversation with anybody. She's cut from the same cloth as me in that regard. You know what? Us Midwesterners, we tend to just, accept everybody with open arms. She was so kind to my family and everyone in the suite when she came to KC. So huge fans of Caitlin Clark.
comment 100% below, because the truth is, we're not just watching games anymore. We're watching history, and Caitlin Clark is the reason why.